So, Arman Tsarukyan is under some fire right now. And it's interesting because although I agree, if you're a UFC fighter, you should be held to a standard. Just because your hands are basically qualifying as weapons, you have some physical talent that most of society doesn't. But I also agree, if you F around, you're gonna find out. I think Arman Tsarukyan should be at least given a light sentence. Now, if someone's flipping you off, you could usually ignore that. You ever hear the phrase, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me? I firmly believe that. I'm not just saying that because of kindergarten, but words only have the power that you give them for the most part. And there are a lot of people out there who bank on your reaction. That's just the way that life has shaped out to be. And everyone's got something to say, might I add you. So, shame on the guy for flipping off Arman Tsarukyan on his walkout at UFC 300. I get you were a big Charles Oliveira fan, and I hope you were disappointed by the decision. I was on Oliveira's team too, but, hey, man. Tsarukyan just out-edged him, and there's a problem when you rely on your jiu-jitsu game to lay on the bottom, because especially those top-heavy guys like Arman Tsarukyan, who know how to stay on top. Jiu-jitsu sweeps don't really work in MMA on those guys. So it was pretty safe to say Arman Tsarukyan beating Charles Oliveira was a good decision. I could see and agree with it. But some people get so hopped up on other fighters' JoJo that they will do things to other fighters in the opposition's name, which is kind of a vicarious thing. If you want to send a hate message towards Macy Barber because you're a fan of Caitlin Kajian, I think there might be something wrong with you and you might need to get a life, to be honest. So, that's the thing is maybe the guy that got punched is thinking right now and saying, hey, maybe I should be my own person and not idolize a fighter, because at the end of the day, the fighters that walk to that octagon are humans just like you and me. They just happen to be really amazing fighters. They have their flaws. But that's also the thing. I think although Tsarukyan answered a call, and you know what? A lot of fighters can be very temperamental. A lot of them have been through some stuff. A lot of them have seen things that you or I have not. That's why they're fighters, is because they embrace the violence that life has thrown their way. I could see that code that Arman lives by. And you know what? I'm pretty sure if you talk to him with respect, you get respect back. But if you get disrespect, you get these hands. Remember when Jorge Masvidal socked up Leon Edwards and everyone was like, oh, should we condemn Jorge Masvidal? Yeah. But on the other hand, when you're fighting Oliveira, you're good enough to fight Charles Oliveira. Do Bronx. Why do you care what a normal person thinks? There's actually an interesting story where it's I was talking to a guy who was in the UFC that was at one of the MMA gyms I trained at, and he was fighting one of the stars at the time. And I said, dude, that's awesome for you. Congratulations. That's going to be a good fight. He basically took that to heart. And then when I was doing an open mat, he came up to me and he was talking to me in passive-aggressive terms. He really took offense to it. So I think he doesn't, a lot of times fighters don't like to be held to that accessory status where they feel like something on a baseball card, which, hey, they got UFC cards. You're a star athlete. But it's the similar thing I remember I told that guy. I said, look, I apologize that you got offended by it, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But why do you care what I think? I'm not the one fighting in the UFC. You made it to the UFC. So yeah, should Arman have walked down that path and not gotten jiggy with it when he was called out? Yeah. He won the Oliveira fight. What does he care about some wannabe in the crowd? But at the same time, I would have to say I could kind of agree with this. Because we live in a world where people like to talk a lot, and then when someone answers the call, they play victim about it. So it's kind of those on one hand but on the other for me. So if I was the main decision maker, I would say maybe Arman gets sidelined until Dustin Poirier finishes the title fight, and then he fights the winner of that fight. Maybe 6 months suspension, which is plenty of time. He's not going to fight for another 6 months anyway. So, just something to think about. Something we should take into consideration. That, yeah, you're getting punished on paper. But is it really a punishment? I think that's fair. Peace out, Arman. I'm looking forward to your next fight against either Dustin Poirier or your rematch with Islam Makhachev. Best of luck to you in all your endeavors. Hope it all works out. Peace.